Good evening. Once again, we return to the story of Caius.
What was that about?
Spellsword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, former agent of the Emperor, current member of the Blades. And it has been a little while since the last time I worked on this, and so while I know we were heading north, I don't immediately recall what my priorities were, so let's take a quick look. So it seems like I want to sell a few of these items. Not quite sure why I want to sell this one. I'm definitely going to keep it. In fact, at the moment, it seems like I should be heading back to Balmora. To drop off a few of these items. Yes, well, before I head back to Balmora, let's take a minute here and see if I can sell a few items. And my apologies to anyone who was a little more familiar with what we were doing last time.
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
Yes, actually I seem to recall. So I wanted to try and sell this mortar and pestle. And I was having some trouble with the gold as a result. Alright, how do I want to approach this? Alright, this looks promising. Let's see if we can dump anything else off on him. Tough customer. Surely there is something we can... Too generous.
What was that about? Share your thoughts, friend. I enjoy the company.
You flatter me with your attention, Outlander.
Then they'll probably not want to buy any. Okay, they're okay with skooma. But they won't buy it. So let's try and clear out a few of these spare items. So I don't need the spark sword, for instance. We'll get rid of that. do want to keep Divine Intervention, and I do want to keep the Amulet of Opening. Don't see much point in the Ancestral Ghosts. Pretty easy. So beyond finding someone to buy my potions, we're actually in not a bad shape. I'm gonna take a minute and stop by Balmora again to drop off my goods. Be carrying a few of these items just because I found them along the way, but shouldn't cost too much for me to head back and drop them off. Hello.
I'm Aranel, the High Elf Guild Guide. I provide instantaneous transport between the various Mages Guild here on Vardenfell. What is your destination? I can also help with local information. Do you need services? Are you looking for some specific place, or for someone in particular?
Just the travel, thank you. There may have been a quest that I was working on as well.
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
Aha, I see you're cool. Actually, they may have already liked me enough, but no matter. Some of these exclusives I kind of want to hang on to. At least for now. Some of the others, though. This is almost purely for the return. They like me a lot, it seems.
Clearly he was wrong. Yet I do think he meant well.
Don't even know if it's day or night.
Friend?
Friend?
So, your name is Caius, and you're new here in Balmora? Well, my name is Hull, and I don't mind answering questions. I have nothing else on my mind right now, and if I start to bore you with more about Morrowind lore, just let me know.
Well, let's start with the boredom.
About 50% of Vardenfell's inhabitants are Dunmer, the other half are Redguard, Breton, Nord, Altmer, Bosmer, Imperial, Khajiit, Argonian, and Orc in roughly equal proportion.
Good to know. Have a good day. Am I carrying any books? Ah, yes. I'm keeping that. Alright, now before I do any more repairs,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try and use up those tongs.
I feel as though I've just awakened from a dream, a terrible dream about the 6th house. Thank you again. I'll tell you of everyone I know about how you saved my life.
It's just sitting there.
Wealth beyond measure, Outlander. Greetings, Outlander.
pleasure. Please, go ahead. I'm all ears.
Alright, let's start with the prompts. So close to using it up. Oh well. I might want to hang on to it just for the, it's a few too many. Alright, now as much as it pains me to do this, I think it's better that I just get the collection out of the way. Now may not be a bad time for me to consider making another batch of potions, but I don't want to be here forever. We're really just dropping off whatever's convenient, so. At this point, I'm not even really worrying about overlapping. Forgot an emerald. Sorry to start off with something like this, but it's what I get for not cleaning things out ahead of time. It's not pretty, but it's managed. Alright. Oh yes, that's right, I was trying to find something to do with these spares. Honestly, there really isn't anything to do with these spares. So... All that I'm gonna want to sell. These I think I was gonna hang on to see if I could find any more glass armor or something better. And we're not exactly out of the woods as far as weight is concerned, but we're a lot better than we were when we started off. So, I suppose we continue our suppose at this point we just need to go back up to the Urshilaku Camp. And Urshilaku. Now, if memory serves, we were going to go from Aldrun, and I think we needed to make our way up to Margan. Alright, so we are going to walk to Margan, that we may not necessarily get anything new out of the journey, but you can never be sure.
Outlander. Greetings, Outlander.
What do you ask of me?
Yes, Outlander?
Let me out. Surprise.
Citizen.
There's nothing cool in here anymore.
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
All right. And as before, there may be some things for me to do in... oh, actually. I think we might have cleaned this... Yep, fair enough. Still working on that.
How about sharing the wealth? I've lots to show you.
Do you?
Well, if you're looking for someone in particular in Alderun, maybe I can tell you.
Not quite for me, thanks. Though I should be working on the mysticism.
May I help you?
Oh boy. This is gonna get exciting. Alright, so let's take a quick minute. I'm gonna be consulting my map in terms of the best way to Margan. So I don't know if... I don't think it's a proper foyada, but if we head up... Oh, it's a marker that says Balisra. Either way, it looks like there's a way to head up the foyada. But it does look like it's going to be tricky to find. And it will not be any easier because of this windstorm. But essentially I'm heading north, so I can at least start with that. And of course the signs may help me. So for instance, I would particularly like to do something like this. Now I am kind of going off the path that the signpost told me, but well, one way or the other, as long as we make it to Balnisra, it doesn't really weigh that heavily on me how we get there. The map is a little difficult to see, though. Yeah, alright, so it's just up and to the right. It's clearing up. Now, it might not be a bad time to practice with the bow and arrow, but if I can avoid the encounter altogether, that'd be even better. That doesn't look too good. It is a nice day now that it's cleaned up, though. Or cleared up. I don't recall if I've been in there already. Ah, yes. Our familiar error. Now, I thought I found a way to deal with that, but it was a little harder than it seemed, so I'm going to take a minute here and,
Stupid!
alright. Just gonna do the reset right now. I'll try and keep these to a minimum, but, this looks grim. Oh, they're just hounds. But blighted. Nice indication of how seriously I take this threat. understand how this works. I feel like I have to practice that a little bit more. I'm not quite sure how that works. I may not hang on to all those arrows. Well, I could have gained some experience doing that, but instead I just... I think I'm over the limit. Alright. Arrows are the first to go. Well, this is the end of the journey, clearly. Let me out. I want to see if I'm still stuck when I reload. For a brief second, it seemed like I wasn't. Alright, that's a pity, but I guess we get to relive all these fond memories again. Also, I get to practice some more. Haha. Might as well save it in D. Let's get rid of those apprentice probes before I do anything crazy. Alright. We survived the biggest of our challenges so far. Climbing on things. I have a feeling this soul drop is gonna wind up taking up a lot of my mana, but gives me an excuse to use all those restore magicka potions. I can do that too. Now I have to wonder what they were casting on me. Oh, looks like a bunch of drain health. Feels a lot less effective than it normally is. Should probably start using Hearth Heal in that case. living underwater. We will check that out in a little bit.
Surefit of Thieves by Enos Noru. This looks interesting, says Indik, his eyes narrowing to observe the black caravan making its way to the spires of the secluded castle. A gaudy alien coat of arms marked each carriage, a lacquer glistening in the light of the moons. Who do you suppose they are? They're obviously well off, smiled his partner, Haraya. Perhaps some new imperial cult dedicated to the acquisition of wealth? Go into town and find out what you can about the castle, said Indik. I'll see what I could... if I can learn anything about who these strangers are. We meet on this hill tomorrow night. Haraya had two great skills, picking locks and picking information. By dusk of the following day, she had returned to the hill. Indik joined her an hour later. The place is called Aldalaira, she explained. It dates back to the Second Era when a collection of nobles built it to protect themselves during one of the epidemics. They didn't want any of the diseased masses to get into their midst and spread the plague, so they built up quite a sophisticated security system for the time. Of course, it's mostly fallen into ruin, but I have a good idea about what kind of locks and traps might still be operational. What did you find out? I wasn't nearly so successful, frowned Indik. No one seemed to have any idea about the group, even that they were here. I was about to give up, but at the charter house I met a monk who said that his masters were a hermetic group called the Order of Saint Aduna. I talked to him for some time, this fellow named Prathian, and it seems they're having some sort of ritual feast tonight. Are they wealthy? Asked Haraya impatiently. Embarrassingly so, according to the fellow, but they're only at the castle for tonight. I have my picks with me, winked Haraya. Opportunity has smiled on us. She drew a diagram of the castle in the dirt. The main hall and kitchen were near the front gate, and the stables and secured armory were in the back. The thieves had a system that never failed. Haraya would find a way into the castle and collect as much loot as possible, while Indik provided the distraction. He waited until his partner had scaled the wall before rapping on the gate. Perhaps this time he would be a bard or a lost adventurer. The details were most fun to improvise. Haraya heard Indik talking to the woman who came to the gate, but she was too far away to hear the words exchanged. He was evidently successful. A moment later, she heard the door shut. The man had charm. She would give him that. Only a few of the traps and locks under the armory had been set. Undoubtedly, many of the keys had been lost in time. Whatever servants had been in charge of securing the Order's treasures had brought a few new locks to affix. It took extra time to maneuver the intricate hasps and bolts of the new traps before proceeding to the old, but the still working systems. But Haraya found her heart beating with anticipation. Whatever lay beyond that door, she thought, must be of sufficient value to merit such protection. When at last the door swung quietly open, the thief found her avaricious dreams paled to reality. A mountain of golden treasure, ancient relics glimmering with untapped magicka, weaponry of matchless quality, gemstones the size of her fist, row after row of strange potions, and stacks of valuable documents and scrolls. She was so enthralled by the sight that she did not hear the man behind her approach. "You must be Lady Trest," said the voice as she jumped. It was a monk in black hooded robe, intricately woven with silver and gold threads. For a moment she could not speak. This was the sort of encounter that Indik loved, but she could think to do nothing, but nod her head with what she hoped would look like certainty. "I'm afraid I'm a little lost," she stammered. "I can see that," the man laughed. "That's the armory. I'll show you the way to the dining hall. We were afraid that you weren't going to arrive. The feast is nearly over." Haraya followed the monk across the courtyard, to the double doors leading to the dining hall. A robe identical to the one he was wearing hung on a hook outside, and he handed it to her with a knowing smile. She slipped it on. She mimicked him as she lowered the hood over her head and entered the hall. Torches illuminated the figures within around the large table. Each wore the uniform black robe that covered all features, and from the look of things, the feast was over. Empty plates, platters, and glasses filled every inch of the wood, only with the faintest spots and dribbles of food remaining. It was a breaking of the fast, it seemed. For a moment, Haraya stopped to think about the poor lost Lady Trest, who had missed her opportunity for gluttony. The only unusual item on the table was its centerpiece, a huge golden hourglass, which was on its last minute's worth of sand. Though each person looked alike, some were sleeping, some were chatting merrily to one another, and one was playing a lute. Indik's lute, she noticed, and then noticed Indik's ring on the man's finger. Haraya was suddenly grateful for the anonymity of the hood. Perhaps Indik would not realize that it was she, and that she had blundered. Trest, said the young man to the assembled, who turned as one to her and burst into applause. The conscious members of the order arose to kiss her hand and introduced themselves. Nirdla, Sulek, Kyler, the names got stranger, Toniop, Hitilis, Nointharap. She could not help laughing. I understand. It's all backwards. Your real names are Aldurin, Celis, Relic, Poinot, Silith, Parathion. Of course, said the young man. Won't you have a seat? Say, giggled Haraya, getting into the spirit of the mask and taking an empty chair. I suppose that's when the hourglass runs out. The backwards names go back to normal? That's correct, Trest. Said the woman next to her. It's just one of our order's little amusements. The castle seemed like an appropriately ironic venue for our feast, as it was to shun the plague victims who were, in their way, a walking dead. Haraya felt herself lightheaded from the odor of the torches and bumped into the sleeping man next to her. He fell face forward onto the table. Poor Esserok Tisrif, said a neighborly man, helping to prop the body up. He's given us so much. Haraya stumbled onto her feet and began walking uncertainly for the front gate. Where are you going, Trest? Asked one of the figures, his voice taking on an unpleasant mocking quality. My name isn't Trest, she mumbled, gripping Indik's arm. I'm sorry, partner. We need to go. The last crumb of sand fell in the hourglass as the man pulled back his hood. It was not Indik. It was not even human, but a stretched grotesquerie of a man with hungry eyes and a wide mouth filled with tusk-like fangs. Haraya fell back into the chair of the figure they called Esserok Tisrif. His hood fell open, revealing the pallid, bloodless face of Indik. As she began to scream, they fell on her. In her last living moment, Haraya finally spelled Trest backwards.
Get damp, and for no reason, it seems. Now I suspect I'll get the crash from the storm Atronak in a minute. Trauma root is always welcome because I can turn it into levitation potions. Although, of course, I already have the Boots of the Apostles, so... maybe it won't see... Ah! So I'll run ahead a little bit before I try to reload anything. Sometimes I get impatient. Damn it. Alright, hopefully that's the last reset of the evening, but we'll see. The funny thing is, for all the crashes caused by Storm Atronax, we haven't really run into too many of them. Oh, come on. We got the crash again. So apparently, depending on how close I get to that, depending on how close I get here, I get into the range of whatever internet's in the area. That's fine, I'll just put some distance between us. Oh. Should have paid attention to my diseases. I've got ataxia. Not anymore. I don't think I have enough for the firestorm, but we'll see. I'm a little worried about going to that camp, because it might be close enough that the Antranak bug triggers, but we'll give it our best shot. Drat. Oh, interesting. I'm not getting the error message. Oof, I am getting a freeze though. See if we can get through it. Nope. Well, now I've gone and done it. This is a little bit more concerning. There we go. I gotta get out of this as soon as possible, just in case something nasty happens.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I don't know you. What do you want?
Who are you?
I am Rasami Esternat, Archer.
Tell me more about yourself.
We are the dark-haired, red-eyed elven people of Morrowind. The Westerners call us Dark Elves, but we prefer to call ourselves Dunmer.
What have you heard in this area?
Have you noticed, for all its proclamations about protecting the rights of property and preserving law and order, the Imperial Legion does little enough to capture and prosecute abolitionists? It's a bit hypocritical, don't you think?
What can you tell me about Morrowind?
Light armor is weak but less tiring, good for running. Heavy armor is strong but slow and tiring. Medium armor is in between. Unarmored style, evading attacks instead of using armor, is least tiring of all.
What can you tell me about your trade?
I'm an archer. I'm the kind of fighter who hates getting hurt, so I ambush with my marksman weapons from a distance. Then I run like crazy when I can, and fight with long blades or spears when I must. I prefer spears because they're longer, and I keep further from things trying to hurt me. If that sounds cowardly to you, better stick with tin suits and fat axes.
No, I'd sort of like to investigate inside here. But I know if I do that, I'm probably going to get hit by
It would be wise to stay indoors, Outlander.
I don't believe I've seen a dark elf with such a grand outfit in some time. How can I help you?
Who are you?
I'm Adrian Lansor, Scout.
Tell me about the Foyada.
Foyada means fire river in the native Ashlander language. The deep ash-dark ravines which run down from the Red Mountain volcano are called Foyada. The lava from Red Mountain is very fluid, and it runs almost like water, and during an eruption, fire rivers run down the mountain, clearing up the ravines of vegetation. Because they have good footing, and are clear of brush and run long distances, we use them like roads when traveling over land.
Tell me about the Foyada Mamea then.
Foyada Mamea is a volcanic ravine that runs from the top of Red Mountain southwest to just the end below Balmora. An old Dwemer bridge crosses the Foyada near Fort Moonmoth. The best route to the Ghost Gate is to follow the Foyada Mamea up to where the Pelagiad Balmora Road crosses the Foyada southeast at Fort Moonmoth.
Who is Sheogarad?
Dragonfell is the only settlement reached by ship services. All other island transport must be provided by the traveler.
What can you tell me about Morrowind?
Verbal assault, pickpocketing, and trespassing are all minor crimes, punished by fines or hard labor.
Fair enough.
Morrowind is the northernmost province of the Tamraelic Alp Empire, bounded on the north and east by the ocean, on the west by Skyrim, and on the southwest by Cyrodiil, also known as the Imperial Province, and on the south by Blackmarsh, also known as Argonia.
What about Vardenfell?
Except for the settled southwest, Vardenfell is covered by hostile desert wastes, arid grasslands, and volcanic badlands, and thinly populated by the nomadic Ashlander tribes.
In the Vardenfell district.
Vardenfell District is one of the 6 administrative districts of the Imperial Province of Morrowind. Vardenfell District consists of the island of Vardenfell, with its great house and imperial settlements, and the city of Vivec, surrounded by the inland sea and dominated by the titanic volcano Red Mountain and its associated ash wastelands.
Finally, what can you tell me of the Sea of Ghosts?
Sea of Ghosts is the name for the northern waters lying between Tamriel and the northern continent of Atmora.
Thank you, that was very helpful. Again, I'd like to go to the yurt, but I'm gonna head straight to Margan. Might as well make the most of the extra magicka, so we'll cast a few high-cost spells. That was a little more efficient. Take your diseases elsewhere. Drat. Oh, maybe not. Something's on me. How many of these things have I got now? More than a few. Wow, they really go up in value. here I thought my little alchemy business was good. Actually, while I'm at it. No, I haven't. Just make sure I've got a charge on everything. It's a little slower than I thought I might be, but we made decent enough time getting to Margon. We're also doing okay for weight. Apparently we haven't taken a look at Margon that much. Alright, the trade house doesn't actually do any trading. Well, we'll see what we can get away with.
Good day. I'm Mance Andis, publican of the Andis Trade House here in Margon. We rent beds, and I have a limited selection of goods for barter. If you're new here, I can also tell you where to look for other services, or a specific place nearby. If you're looking for someone in particular, I may be able to help.
Let's start with services.
We have several priests, 2 at the Tower Shrine and 1 at Margon Outpost. We also have a Redoran Smith, Master-at-Arms, Drill Master, and a Scout at the Outpost. Mance Andis at the Andis Trade House rents rooms and sells food and sundries.
Why do you talk about yourself in the third person? Tell me more about Margon.
Margon is a Redoran egg mining village in the northern Ashlands, north of Aldrun, close to the Foyada Bani Dad, the Ghost Fence. And on the plains beneath Red Mountain, monsters have been breaking through the Ghost Fence here and attacking the villagers. Fortunately, monster fighters have answered the call for volunteers and have come to protect Margon. Pilgrims of the Tribunal Temple come to visit Margon Tower Shrine, where Lord Vivek outwitted the bad Daedra Lord Marunas Dagon.
Tell me more about Morrowind.
The 2 criminal guilds here are the Kimona Tong, the native criminal syndicate, and the Thieves Guild, the imperial upstarts. The Kimona Tong accepts only native Dunmer. The Kimona Tong has sworn to exterminate the Outlander-dominated Thieves Guild.
Alright. It's not a whole lot. Oh, if I'm gonna be trading, let's do it properly. That was worth a try. myself to sell materials. Should have seen if I could have got away with, alright. So if it's a Reverend Smith, it may not be someone I can actually interact with. The shrine might trade for some things, but they may not necessarily want what's on offer. It's quite cramped here. Interesting. Alright, nothing so formal as a blacksmith right now. Possibly in the guard towers, but let's maybe focus on the task at hand. I don't have to sell all this. Actually, before I do that, I'll maybe stop by the shrine. What in the world are you doing here?
I am Enhendra. If you are a pilgrim, read the inscription on this stupid rock. Here, Merinus Dagon held this rock high above the Dunmer. Vivek taunted Merinus Dagon so that Dagon threw the rock at Vivek instead of the people. I believe I've seen a dark elf with such a grand outfit in some time. How can I help you?
Looking for someone in particular.
Mansandus is the publican of the Andis trade house, and Miles Gloriosus, famous questing swordsman and monster slayer, is taking his lodgings there while he hunts the blight creatures plaguing the village. Trellis Rendas and Salin Revel are the tribunal priests at the tower shrine. Alds Barrow, the smith, is ranking Redoran at the Morgon outpost. If you are on the pilgrimage here, I may assist you. Do you want the blessings of the temple?
No thanks. Tell me about Almalexia.
Blessed Almalexia is the warden of one of the 3 immortal god kings of Morrowind, a pillar of the tribunal and patron of healers and teachers.
I think I've learned everything that I need to know already.
I believe I've seen a dark elf with such a grand outfit in some time. How may I help you?
Alright. We might be able to do some business. Maybe not. Could try and sell off some potions, but I kind of want a lot of these. Maybe some of the restored fatigues. I'm trying to remember if I've got these books or not. All right. This calls for sterner stuff. One more. Now let's see if we can get it back. Alright, so it looks like we're limited to potions. Well, that covers it. Whoa. Should have seen if I could have got those books in with the deal. Oh well. How do you like me now?
Your threats are weak like your flesh, mortal. Continue with your insults, mortal. I might long to feast on your marrow. Ha! Fine words from one who was born at the wrong end of a guar. After I kill you, I will rape your corpse. Don't worry, I'll be gentle.
Thanks, Morrowind. I hope I didn't kill it. Damn it. Let's try that again.
A warm welcome to you.
Not entirely sure that was worth it, but
Stay as long as you like. It would be a privilege to talk with you.
Welcome to Margon. Is there some specific place you want to visit while you're here?
May you find me worthy of your attention.
Apparently everyone's, pretty okay with what I just did. Fair enough. Alright.
I taunted the Dremora at the Shrine of Magar, and he attacked me.
Nuleno Tedas.
A warm welcome.
Trade house seems to be the best place to look first.
A warm welcome to you.
How wonderful. Welcome, Outlander.
A sincere welcome to you. May you be forever blessed.
A sincere welcome to you. May you be forever blessed.
I believe I've seen a dark elf with such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you?
Nope.
You have great understanding. Welcome.
Maybe they were at the shrine. Margan Outpost. That's not necessarily the same as Margan. Let's take a quick look at the map and see if it makes a distinction. It does not. But I could just read the labels on things. In fact, if I just read the directions, I wouldn't have gotten into a fight with the Dremora.
Welcome to Margan, Caius. Is there some specific place you would like to visit while you're here?
No, I'm just looking for someone.
This room and display is dedicated to the memory of Ravila Narayan, killed while crusading to remove the blade from the Harriet Vasami egg mine. May her spirit rest in peace eternally.
Nah.
This is Margan, Caius. I'm Cedrus Omlin. Lots of pilgrims come here to visit the temple shrine. Is there anything I can help you with? Do you need services?
Let's see what spells you have. I think I'll just leave it be for now. I don't need to buy it. Don't need to come out ahead on everything.
This is Margan, Caius, and I'm Nulendo Tedas. Lots of pilgrims come here to visit the temple shrine. Is there anything that I can help you with? Do you need services?
Let's talk about the Urshilaku Camp.
Urshilaku Camp is due north from Margan, but high ridges lie in the way. From Argonne, head east past the Siltstrider, and then take a trail north to the Foyada Bani Dad. Follow the Foyada northwest to the sea. A shipwreck at the sea mouth of the ravine is a landmark. Swim east around the headland.
Are you serious?
Past east through the ruins of Asurnabitapashi Shrine. Avoid Daedra here. They're powerful and aggressive.
Pretty sure I've already taken care of them.
Urshilaku Camp lies east of the ruins, inland, in a low hollow.
All right. I'll start by going east from the Siltstrider and hope I can remember the rest.
Wealth beyond measure.
Alright. Head east, past the Siltstrider. This takes me into Margon, though, so I'm not 100% sure about this instruction. Let's see what happens when I go all the way through, though.
Oh,
I can, of course, just levitate my way there, but... yeah, that didn't do anything. What time is it? 7 p.m.
We have one available. It's 10 gold for the rest of the day. Do you want it?
I do.
Our doors are always open. Citizen.
From where do you hail, friend? I thought I heard something. What is this about?
It's a light sleep. I was hoping for something a little longer. Oh well.
I am a sleeper, one among thousands. I bring you a message. Dagoth calls you, Caius, and you cannot deny your lord. The sixth house is risen, and Dagoth is its glory.
It would be wise to stay indoors.
Alright, so any opportunities to go north and east I'll take. This is west. This might just give me a view. Well, there is a path. But again, it seems to be heading west rather than east. Unless it wraps around. This is gonna take me anywhere I want to go. Let's see if I can find where the Fuyada Banidad is on the map. Okay. I think I see the path he's talking about.
It would be wise to stay indoors.
I forgot I should have checked to see if somebody would buy that plate I'm holding. Oh, that's a bad crash. I don't know what caused that. Well, I have an idea given that I picked up an item, but...
What is this about?
Outlander. It would be wise to stay indoors out there.
So I'm gonna try and visit that same place again, but I will obviously save before I try picking up anything damaging. I mean, damaging to the playthrough, obviously.
Yes, Outlander?
Curses. It may be because I'm getting a second of that item.
Is that scamp really gone? Thank you, whoever you are. This is all my fault. At first he did everything I told him, but he tricked me. He wasn't really under my control. Then he started tearing the place up, and he took all of my clothes, and I locked myself in this closet, and it's just been horrible. I don't want to be a sorcerer anymore. I won't even summon another Daedra as long as I live.
Tell me more.
I wanted to be a real sorcerer, not just Hulin's apprentice for the rest of my life. I wanted to prove that I could summon a scamp, and Hulin would have to take me seriously. I'm just glad that it's all over now. Thanks for killing the scamp, Caius.
Tell me more about the Mages Guild.
The Mages Guild is dedicated to the preservation and distribution of magical knowledge. Pursue your studies diligently, Caius, and the benefits belonging to the Mages Guild will become clear to you.
Yes, you are really the person who should be telling me
I must say, I find you most interesting right now. Please, go ahead.
Another time, perhaps. Oh, come on. That's right, run. Rather not that, you know what? No, might have a racer feather. Ash Chansra. It's a rather nasty one. Alright. Let's test something here. I'm already at full fatigue. I'm an idiot. Alright, I'm gonna guess it's a blight disease. It's definitely not a common disease. just shy of what I need. Alright, so let's try, fair enough. So while I am restoring magicka, let's get some practice in. It's a lot less than I wanted, but there you have it. I also should have done that first. I have a feeling I'm probably just resetting a lot of these gems. No, maybe not. So at this point, I'm just gonna follow the Foyada to the camp. Now, when I take a look at the map when I take a look at the map, the full map, I should just be able to go northwest fairly soon. It might be this part that refers to. That's because everything's... yeah, until I find more soul gems, there's no point in doing that. Apparently something's still hunting me. I'm sure this will make me popular among the Ashlanders. If I can avoid it, I will, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Alright, some peace and quiet finally. Well, peace and quiet in the middle of the storm. No, come on! take the weapon out. This one really is about preserving mana. Quick refuge from the storm. Oh boy.
Now you die!
Who are you? I'd love to take all of this with me, but I don't think I have the weight. Running low on magicka, it looks like. Yeah, I'm already overburdened. Alright. Do quantum eggs. Never heard of anybody.
As instructed, a party of 5 entered the Velothi Tower of Shishi. 5 Tilvani sorcerers fell, and the tower is now ours. But we have suffered heavy losses. We will hold Shishi as long as we can and await your orders. Berama Selas.
How much are these things worth? 105. I'm fairly certain we have this one, but I don't remember offhand, so I'll read it out.
Ancestors and the Dunmer. Ghosts walk among them. The departed spirits of the Dunmeri, and perhaps those of all races, persist after death. The knowledge and power of departed ancestors benefits the bloodlines of Dunmeri houses. The bond between the living family members and immortal ancestors is partly blood, partly ritual, and partly volitional. A member brought into the house through marriage binds himself through ritual and oath into the clan.
We've almost certainly read this.
And gains communication and benefits from the clan's ancestors. However, his access to the ancestors is less than his offspring, and he retains some access to the ancestors of his own bloodline. The family shrine. Each residence has a family shrine. In poorer homes, it may be no more than a hearth or alcove where family relics are displayed and venerated. In wealthy homes, the room is set aside for the use of the ancestors. The shrine is called the waiting door and represents the door to oblivion. Here the family members pay their respects to their ancestors through sacrifice and prayer, through oaths sworn upon duties, and through reports on the affairs of the family. In return, the family may receive information, training, and blessings from the family's ancestors. The ancestors are thus the protectors of the home, and especially the precincts of the waiting door. The ghost fence. It is a family's most solemn duty to make sure that their ancestors' remains are interred properly in a city of the dead such as Necrom. Here, the spirits draw comfort from one another against the chill of the mortal world. However, as a sign of great honor and sacrifice, an ancestor may grant that part of his remains to be retained to serve as part of a ghost fence protecting the clan's shrine and family precincts. Such an arrangement is often part of a family member's will, that a knucklebone shall be saved out of his remains and incorporated with solemn magic in a ceremony into a clan ghost fence. In more exceptional cases, an entire skeleton or even a preserved corpse may be bound into the ghost fence. These remains become a beacon and focus for ancestral spirits, and for the spirit of the remains in particular. The more remains used to make a ghost fence, the more powerful the fence is, and the most powerful mortals in life have the most powerful remains. The great ghost fence created by the tribunal to hold back the blight incorporates the bones of many heroes of the temple and of the houses Indoril and Redoran who dedicated their spirits to the temple and clan as their surrogate families. The ghost fence also contains bones taken from the catacombs of Necrom and the many battlefields of Morrowind. The mortal chill. Spirits do not like to visit the mortal world, and they only do so out of duty and obligation. Spirits tell us that the other world is more pleasant, or at least more comfortable for spirits than our real world, which is cold, bitter, and full of pain and loss. Mad spirits. Spirits that are forced to remain in our world against their will may become mad spirits or ghosts. Some spirits are bound to this world because of some terrible circumstances of their death, or because of some powerful emotional bond to a person, place, or thing. These are called hauntings. Some spirits are captured and bound to enchanted items by wizards. If the binding is involuntary, the spirit usually goes mad. A willing spirit may or may not retain its sanity, depending on the strength of the spirit and the wisdom of the enchanter. Some spirits are bound against their wills to protect family shrines. This unpleasant fate is reserved for those who have not served the family faithfully in life. Dutiful and honorable ancestral spirits often aid in the capture and binding of wayward spirits. These spirits usually go mad and make terrifying guardians. They are ritually prevented from harming mortals of their clans, but that does not necessarily discourage them from mischievous or peevish behavior. They are exceedingly dangerous for intruders. At the same time, if an intruder can penetrate the spirit's madness and play upon the spirit's resentment of his own clan, the angry spirits may be manipulated. Oblivion. The existence of oblivion is acknowledged by all Tamriel cultures, but there is little agreement on the nature of that other world, other than it is the place where the Aedra and the Daedra live, and that communication and travel are possible between this world and oblivion through magic and ritual. The Dunmer do not emphasize the distinction between this world and oblivion, as do the human creatures of Tamriel. They regard our world and the other world as a whole, with many paths from one end to the other, rather than two separate worlds of different natures, with distinct borders. This philosophical viewpoint may account for the greater affinity of elves for magic and its practices, foreign views of Dunmeri ancestor worship and spirit magic. Sorry, I should have said that as a different section. The Altmeri and Bosmeri cultures also venerate their ancestors, but only by respecting the orderly and blissful passage of these spirits from this world to the next. That is, wood elves and high elves believe it is cruel and unnatural to encourage the spirits of the dead to linger in our world. Even more grotesque and repugnant is the display of the bodily remains of the ancestors in ghost fences and ash pits. The presentation of finger bones in a family shrine, for example, is sacrilegious to the Bosmor, who eat their dead, and barbaric to the Altmor, who intern their dead. The human cultures of Tamriel are ignorant and fearful of dark elves and their culture, considering them to be inhuman and evil like orcs and Argonians, but more sophisticated. The human populations of Tamriel associate Dunmeri ancestor worship and spirit magic with necromancy. In fact, this association of the Dark Elves with necromancy is at least partly responsible for the dark reputation of Dunmer throughout Tamriel. This is generally an ignorant misconception, for necromancy outside the acceptable clan rituals is the most abhorrent abomination in the eyes of the Dunmer. The Dark Elves would never think of practicing sorcerous necromancy upon any Dark Elf or upon the remains of any elf. However, Dark Elves consider the human and Orcish races to be little more than animals. There is no injunction against necromancy upon such remains, or on the remains of any animal, bird, or insect. Imperial policy officially recognizes the practices of Dunmeri ancestor veneration and spirit magic as a religion, and protects their freedom to pursue such practices so long as they do not threaten the security of the Empire. Privately, most Imperial officials and traders believe Dark Elf ancestor worship and displays of remains are barbaric or even necromantic. Telvanni necromancy. The Telvanni are adept masters of necromancy. They do not, however, practice necromancy upon the remains of Dark Elves. Saint Telvanni regard such practices with loathing and righteous anger. They do not practice necromancy upon the remains of animals and upon the remains of humans, orcs, and Argonians, who are technically no more than animals in Morrowind. Publisher's note: this book was written by an unknown scholar as a guide to for foreign visitors to Morrowind shortly after the armistice was signed. Many of the practices have since fallen into disfavor. The most obvious changes are those regarding the practice of necromancy and the Great Ghost Fence. Dunmer today regard necromancy upon any of the accepted races as an abomination. The Ghost Fence has forced many changes in the practice of ancestor worship. With the vast majority of ancestors' remains going to strengthen the Great Ghost Fence around the mountain of Dagoth-Ur, there are very few clan ghost fences in Morrowind. The temple discourages such practices among the houses as selfish. The upkeep of family tombs and private waiting doors has also fallen into disfavor, as very few remains have been buried in those tombs and shrines since the armistice. In recent years, most Dunmer venerate a small portion of their ancestors' remains kept at a local temple. Blasphemous revenants. Not into the world nor out of it, but between worlds they linger, held to the hearth and tomb by blood and loyalty. And if they come unbidden, from love or kin or faith to duty, it is not unholy. It is but the answering of the ancestors, the awakening of those who never sleep, the summoning to service of those bound through hearth and house to the protection of the clan. But if sorcerers bring them forth, then such summons is blasphemy, an abomination before the tribes and temple, and a sin so great that ages of burning cannot cleanse the fault. Abide not the sorcerer among you, for he comes to steal the bones of your fathers and dust from your tombs.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He seeks to bind by power what is yours by right, to drag forth the warm spirits from the world between and bind them to service like slaves and beasts. Who can know the shame of the dead, the ceaseless weeping of the necromancer's thrall? Cruel enough is the ancestor's service given in love to hearth and kin, but ghost or guardian, bone walker or bone lord, summoned by profane ritual and bound by force to the corpse miner's will, how may such a spirit ever find rest? How may it ever find its way back to its blood and clan? Only a righteous Dunmer, bound by blood to hearth and kin, bound by oath to the service of the temple, and can call upon the spirits of the Dunmer dead. Those foreign sorcerers and other races that invade our shores, shall they be permitted to rob our tombs, to bind our spirits into sorcerous slavery, to steal the lives of the dead as well as our land of the living? No, I say, no, and no 3 times more. Such necromancers must die, and their profane magics must die with them. And shall we tolerate the hidden hosts of the undead, the arrogant princes of necromancers, the ancient vampire demons who creep from the lairs in the west, seeking refuge in profane Daedric shrines, abandoned Dunmer strongholds, and corrupted subterranean labyrinths for the detested Dwemer race? For ages the great houses and the temple have kept our land clean of the vampire's taint, but now these undead lords and their vile cattle have returned. These vampires must die, and their corrupt cattle with them, and their blood taint must forever be erased by fire and stake.
I've already got a copy of this, but I believe we have read this. And I think the pig children might be the orc, but let's double check.
The Pig Children by Tistan Bane. No one, not the oldest dark elf of Mount Dagoth-Ur or the ancient sage of Solitude himself, can recall a time when the orc did not ravage our fair Tamriel. Whatever foul and pestilent Daedra of Oblivion conjured them up could scarcely have created a more constant threat to the well-being of the civilized races of Tamriel than the obnoxious orc. Orcs are thankfully easy to recognize from other humanoids by their size, commonly 40 pertons in height and 15,000 agonids in weight, their brutal pig-like features, and their stench. They are consistently belligerent, morally grotesque, intellectually moronic, and unclean. By all rights, the civilized races of Tamriel should have been able to purge the land of their blight eras ago, but their ferocity, animal cunning, and curious tribal loyalty have made them inevitable as leeches in a stagnant pool. Tales of Orcish barbarity precede the written record. Whether Jestanga wrote of the order of Diangas joining the armies of Daggerfall and Sentinel to hold at bay the wicked orcs and their foul Orsinium fastness, and burn aught the cleansing flame in First Era 950, she assumed that any reader would be aware of the savagery of the orcs. When the siege was completed 30 years later, after the death of many heroes, including Gaiden Shinji, and the destruction of Orsinium scattered the Orcish survivors throughout the Hrothgarian mountains, she further wrote, "The free peoples rejoiced for that their ancient fell enemy was dispersed into diverse parts." Obviously, the orcs had been terrorizing the region of Aelic Bay since at least since the early years of the First Era.
I believe we may have read that in Daggerfall. All right.
The Alchemist's Formulary. Healer's Recipes. Healers should know all the recipes for the following popular potions. Fortunately, in most cases, the ingredients are common and cheaply obtained. To restore health to the afflicted and wounded, combine in equal parts 2 or more of the following cheap and common ingredients: marshmallow, wickweed, cornbulb root, and saltrees. Marshmallow is an important crop to the Ascadian Isles, but it also grows wild in the Grazelands and on Azura's coasts. Wickweed is a wild ashland grain that grows in the Grazelands. Corkbulb grows best in the Ascadian Isles. Most saltrees comes from the southeastern Morrowind, but there are also some new and prospering farms and plantations in the Ascadian Isles. Saltrees occasionally grows wild in the Grazelands and on Azura's coasts. To restore fatigue after heavy exertion, combine 2 or more of the following: crab meat, bread, small kwama egg, and chokeweed. Crab meat is taken from the mud crab, commonly found along all coasts. Bread in Morrowind is usually baked from saltrees flour. Kwama eggs are harvested from egg mines and sold everywhere in Morrowind. The smaller eggs retain properties lost in later stages of gestation. Chokeweed is a tough shrub growing in the rocky highlands of the West Gash. To cure common diseases, combine grave dust and green lichen. Grave dust is a spirit-affinitive dust taken from the remains buried in consecrated ground. Green lichen is a hardy primitive plant that grows in the Ascadian Isles and in Azura's coasts. To restore magicka for spellcasting, combine comberry and frost salts. Comberry is a bitter berry used to make wines. It grows mainly in the Ascadian Isles. Frost salts, by contrast, are rare and expensive. These crystalline compounds precipitate from elemental frost in solution. Such residues may be collected from the remains of frost antronax that have been banished from the mortal plane. Traveler's Recipes. Pilgrims and travelers will find the following inexpensive recipes of particular interest. Feather reduces the weary traveler's burdens and can be gained from heather and scuttle. Heather is a low evergreen shrub of the Ascadian Isles, known for its small pinkish-purple flowers. Scuttle, Vardenfell's favorite local dish, is similar to cheese and made from the flesh of local beetles. Levitation can be produced from any of the two of the following ingredients: trauma root, racer plumes, and coda flowers. A thick, bitter-tasting root of the trauma shrub grows in the ashlands, Molagamur, and Red Mountain regions. Racer plumes are plucked from dead cliff racers. Coda flowers are collected from the primitive draggletail plant of the Bitter Coast. The power of water breathing is handy for travelers. A potion may be made from 2 or more of the following ingredients: Luminous Rusala, Hackle-Low Leaf, and Quamacuddle. Luminous Rusala is a squat, mottled brown and green toadstool mushroom of the Bitter Coast region. Hackle-Low Leaf is a succulent leaf of the Grazelands, prized for its taste and its restorative powers. Quamacuddle is a tough, waxy substance that comes from sacs in the mouths of Quama. Adventurers' Recipes. Unfortunately, the potions most favored by adventurers require more rare and expensive ingredients. There are exceptions for like the easy and affordable recipe for Fire Shield, but most such potions require at least 1 ingredient with high cost in coin or blood. Fire Shield potions can be made from comberry and slowed soap. Comberry is the bitter berry of the Ascadian Isles. Slode soap is a waxy substance made from the immature, non-sentient forms of the slode. Slode soap is not expensive, but it is only rarely stocked by apothecaries or alchemists and cannot be collected locally. An adventurer can fortify his strength with a potion made from ash yams and drow wax. Ash yam is a tough, tuberous root vegetable common to the Acadian Isles region. Drew wax is a tough, waxy substance scraped from drew shells. Drow are powerful aquatic creatures, and hunting them for their hide and wax is a dangerous occupation. Invisibility, one of the most prized effective potions, can be made only from crushed diamonds and bittergreen petals. Bittergreen is a red flowering plant growing in the Red Mountain region. Diamonds, on the other hand, are very rare and expensive, and usually must be purchased from fine alchemists. Reflections on cult worship in the Empire. From correspondence of Curtius Plesia, imperial trader writing from the Voss Trade House in Vardenfell district, province of Morrowind. I have noticed that Heartlanders like myself and assimilated imperial citizens of other races tend to impersonal and formal relationships with their gods and spirits. For us, cults are first and foremost social and economic organizations. We typically think of the 8 divines in most abstract terms, as powerful but indifferent spirits to be propitiated, and do not think of their relationships as personal. Notable exceptions include minor charismatic subcults of Akatosh and Dibella. The imperial cult of Tiber Septim also has a significant charismatic subcult. With the exception of the Elysian Order, which Heartlanders regard as a dark age, religious cults have played only minor parts in Heartlander and imperial history. The Septim emperors have made it a policy to limit the influence of cult authorities in aristocratic military and bureaucratic affairs. Cult worship is regarded as a private and practical matter, and public pronouncements by religious figures are not welcomed. Nordic hero cults provide a strong countercurrent to the dominant secularism of the Empire. The imperial cult of Tiber Septim is just such a hero cult, and among the military, provincial colonists, and recently assimilated foreigners, the cult is particularly strong and personal. The Tribunal Temple in Morrowind and its predecessor House Ancestor cults are, by contrast with imperial cults, extremely intimate and personal. In ancestor cults, the worshipper has a direct relationship with the blood family ancestor spirit, and the temple's cultists' relationship with the tribunal is a relationship with a living, breathing god who walks the earth, speaks in person with priests and cultists, and whose daily actions are prescribed models for the daily actions of their followers. The differences in religious temperament between Heartlanders and Morrowind Dunmer accounts in large part for consistent political and social misunderstanding between the two cultures. Heartlanders do not consider cult affairs as serious matters, where the Dunmer consider cult affairs, and in particular ancestral spirit veneration, to be very serious matters indeed. Heartlanders are casual and tolerant in religious matters. Dunmer are passionate and extremely intolerant. Heartlanders do not speak with their gods, and do not think of their actions as under constant review and judgment by their gods. The Dunmer feel that all they think and do is under the ever-watchful eye of the tribunal and the family ancestor spirits.
Find a place to sell it first, but we'll do our best. I think I already checked these, but no, I didn't. Alright, decision time. See, I'd really like to hang on to that, but the silver longsword is actually worth more. It's been a while since we've leveled up. I suspect it's because I haven't been leveling up the right skills. I don't know if this will count for I don't have time for this.
Spoke with Liston Bareilles, Willian's apprentice. He apparently summoned a scamp and then lost control of it. Everything seems to be under control now.
I suspect that's probably a quest. There's a side of me that would love to check this out. But I know I'm running out of space. Who's tending sheep out here?
How does it feel to know death is
versus a steel longbow. Yeah, this is still better. Having a little trouble with that door. It's a fancy armor you got there. How many copies of this key do we have? It's just worth too much. I can't leave it there.
Do you have the key to these braces? Will you let me go free?
Yes.
Yes, now I am free. Thank you, Caius.
What do you know about the twin lamps?
I do not know if they really exist. It is said that they help slaves like us exist. Until you arrived, I did not believe that I would ever see Argonia again.
You have our attention, Dunmer.
You wish to speak?
Warmly
Your turn to
greeted,
talk,
friend.
ours to
Welcome.
listen.
This is an honor for me.
I'm Spartacus.
Now you're going to get it.
I am mildly tempted to get a rest in. Of course. Try eating the skooma. 3 in the afternoon. It's a little early to go to bed. Definitely seem to be a lot of ruins on this path, but ones that I can't access unless I levitate. I also think the next time I'm in Balmora, I'm going to make another batch of potions, because I'm sort of out of stuff that I normally sell. And I also seem to be getting a little light on Restore Magica. Down to business, I respect that. And we're getting close to the sea. Good news, we'll find a proper place to rest, and then we'll advance. There's the shipwreck our instructions told us about. Didn't mention the fish, mind you. Looks like I've got seafood for the next few days. Alright, again, time for some tricky decisions. Alright, well, obviously if I'm carrying bowls, oh boy. Alright, so that was easier than I thought. Well, at least I got some practice in. Something's coming after me. Just double check I've got the instructions right. Through the ruins. Where are you? Big reason why I'm doing this. So, what did that go into? Common, wow. Now the real shame here is that I do want to to get all the benefits from raiding these ruins. But I'm obviously really short on space. Thought I had heavier. Yeah, there we go. I just want to find the heavy restore healths. Doesn't look like there's a lot of them. May not have a restore endurance. Too heavy. What can I get rid of? No, actually. That's a start. I don't really want to be using up Restore Magica right now, but... And it didn't help anyway. How much are these things worth? Quite a bit for their weight. Sure there wasn't a key or anything. So I still have some Restore Magica going, so let's Greater Fireball is 10, I think Firestorm is worth more. Quite a bit more.
It's over for you!
I may not pick up anything else. We'll see. Alright, well, first thing I'm going to do is use one of these Restore Health. Oh boy. But this is actually an improvement. Because now I can make the most of my materials. It's not perfect, but we'll work with what we've got. Actually, there might be more. No more tools. Alright. We'll work. So, first up, any Restore Magica. Okay, next thing I want to work with is that scrib jelly. Because if I could get another Cure Blight, I'll be pretty happy with that. Okay, so now we're going to look for damaging traits, because those are going to be very easy for me to see and sell. Drat. See if there's any drain willpower. See drain personalities, so let's start with that. Now, next thing I want to check actually is before I do anything else, I want to see what the heaviest is. So the ruby mine might want to hang on to for the monetary value, but rat meat, perfect example. Okay, can we drain Magicka? Elite high, let's get rid of those, so drain intelligence. Alright, I'll work on that. Resist poison, telekinesis. I don't want to keep the cranberry. Alright, so fortify. Let's do fortify luck if I can find it. Okay, restore personality. Alright, what else is heavy? Crab meat, but I think, yeah, here we go, hound meat. Alright, well, restore fatigue or reflect are helpful. Alright, so everything right now is Oh yeah, that saved a ton of space.
Ante's notes. At last, after these many years of searching, I'm sure I've located the proper caverns. The crystals are just as the story is described. Wrapped in crystalline embrace, the silver-pierced brow of the traders shall ward his sleep. This must be the place. This must be Mordred Hannon's tomb. Madame and I have established a quarters here. No one shall steal my discovery. To imagine what treasures are hidden within this stone. Those guild fools, mocking my studies. The powers I shall unleash upon their miserable skins. Tomorrow we will summon workers to begin excavation. The summoning was successful, though Badama lacks concentration. We nearly had a storm Antronak, but her poor skills allowed it to escape.
Good for me.
We shall make do with vermin. To think of the earth we could have riven with the Antronak. Now we are forced to watch the scamps scrape the surface with picks and shovels. Hideous, miserable creatures. Otherworldly vermin, bastards, fodder for my cauldron. Scamps are the most untrue of servants. I should enlist the efforts of giant rats of the wilderness and have greater success. Whining, thieving, lazy, and treacherous scamps. One attempted to flee, stealing a number of potions in his flight. I made short work of him. Perhaps the others will think deeply before following his path. Unfortunately, I was unable to locate one of my best potions of rising force. Success! I discovered the traces of worked stone, which, inspected closely, were obviously of Daedric workmanship. After great effort and much moving of earth and stone, the remaining blockage fell away with a great splash into a pool of loathsome water. The foul and noisome air which escaped nearly choked me. The scamps broke into a great frenzy, trying to hurl themselves through the opening, shrieking with either terror or joy. The creatures are clearly insane. I've been forced to erect a gate at the opening. The scamps still attempt to escape into its maw. I've placed Badama as sentry to monitor the worthless creatures. Perhaps they'll tear her to pieces in her sleep. No, I still require her talents in the upcoming search. The baleful effects of this place are telling on me. I've only just managed to distill some potions to aid us in our endeavor. Soon, though, we will enter the chambers and finally realize a life's ambition. Still, though we find the tomb, it may be for naught if we cannot locate the key guardian. Sometimes I hear voices in my dreams calling on Morden's name. Is it a terror or adulteration?
I'm pretty sure we've already done this one several times. I do have a water-breathing potion if I get in trouble. Ow. Oh yeah. Hang on. Oh, stop that. Jesus. Oh, damn it. I'm gonna have to find space for all of this. Oddly enough, I don't think I have any more Restore Magicka. Alright, let's do this as we normally do. Drain Endurance, Drain Magicka. Drain Endurance, Drain Agility. Nope. I can afford to do this. Drain Power. Drain Speed or Magicka. Drain Speed or Strength. Strength or health. Nah, we're keeping the ruby, it's not that heavy. Okay. Personality. Alright, restore fatigue if I can. Not as much for me to work with here. Alright, let's just see what the debt is. Yeah, that's not happening. It'd be great. Actually, people are gonna get rather upset with me, but I know what I'm doing. Or I know what I'm gonna do. You know what? I should double check. There may be a key. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if there's any way up there. I mean, I know I have a way up there, but... We'll make the most of it. Okay, surely this'll give me a soul. The answer to that question was no, by the way. So I got some ideas about how to handle this. I gotta deal with the locks first. Actually, here.
36 Lessons of Vivex, Sermon 16. The Horator wandered through the morning hold, wrestling with the lessons that he had learned. They were slippery in his mind. He could not always keep the words straight, and knew that this was a danger. he wandered to find Vivek, his lord and master, the glory of the image of Veloth, and found him, of all places, in the Temple of False Thinking. There, clockwork shears were taking off Vivek's hair. A beggar king had brought his loom and was making of the hair an incomplete map of adulthood and death. Nerevar said, "Why are you doing this, my lord?" Vivek said, "To make room for the fire." And the Horator could see that Vivek was out of sorts, though not because of the impending new power to come. The Golden Warrior poet had been exercising his water face as well, learned from the Draws before he was born. Nerevar said, "Is this to keep you from the fire?" Vivek said, "It is so that I may see with truth. It and my place here at the altar of Padom and the house of false thinking serve so that I may see beyond my own secrets. The water face cannot lie. It comes from the ocean, which is too busy to think, much less lie. Moving water resembles truth by its trembling." Nerevar said, "I am afraid to become slipshod in my thinking." Vivek said, "Reach heaven by violence then." So to quiet his mind, the Horator chose from the fight racks an axe. He named it and moved on to the first moon. There Nerevar was greeted by the Parliament of Craters, who knew him by title and resented his presence, for he was to be a ruling king of Earth, and this was the lunar realm. They shifted around him in a pattern of entrapment. "The moon does not recognize crowns or scepters," they said, "nor the representatives of kingdoms below, lion or serpent or mathematician. We are the graves of those that have migrated and become ancient countries. We seek no queens or thrones. Your appearance is decidedly solar, which is to say a library of stolen ideas. We are neither tear nor sorrow. Our revolution succeeded in the manner that it was written. You are the Horator and unwelcome here." And so Nerevar carved at the grave ghosts until he was out of breath and their parliament could make no new laws. He said, "I am not of the slaves that perish." Of the members of parliament, only a few survived the Horator's attack. A supervising crater said, "Appropriation is nothing new. Everything happens of itself. This motif is by no means unassociated with hero myths. You have not acted with the creative impulse. You fall below the weight of destiny. We are graves, but not coffins. You know the difference. You have only dug more and supplied no ghosts to reside within. Central to your claim is the predominance of frail events. To be judged by the earth is to sit on a throne of wonder why. Damage us more, and you will find naught but the absence of our dead." The ending of the words is Umsivi. Mystery of Princess Talara, Part 3, by Mara Likith. Norbuth was leaving his favorite pub in Camlorn, the Breaking Branch, when he heard someone calling his name. His was not the sort of name that could be mistaken for another. He returned and saw Lord Errol, the royal battle mage from the palace, emerge from the darkness of the alley. "My lord," said Norbuth with a pleasant smile. "I'm surprised to see you out this evening, Norbuth," grinned Lord Errol with a most unpleasant smile.
I think I might have read this before.
I've not seen you and your master very much since the Millennial Celebration, but I understand that you've been very busy. What I've been wondering is what you've been busy doing. Protecting the Imperial interests in Camlorn is busy work, my lord, but I cannot imagine you would be interested in the minutiae of an ambassador's appointments. "But I am," said the battle mage, "especially as the ambassador has begun acting most mysteriously and undiplomatic." I think this ends with a response. Yeah, we've read this. Sorry not to do it again, but I'm trying to get this done in proper time.
much to sort through. All right. Fortunately, the names are make it hard to find which one is the open. Alright, looks like I gotta use one of these. I don't know if I'm just getting unlucky. Well, yeah, if it's at the higher end of the range, that's not gonna work. Oh, I forgot one more. All right, now. I am very sorry to do this, but this is simply too much good stuff to leave behind.
I'd be happy to talk. My pleasure, really.
Almost there. Suppose I can just drop a few of these temporarily. Oh boy. Okay, well this will at least give me first things first.
You've ascended to level 27. The results of hard work and dedication always look like luck to saps, but you know that you've earned every ounce of your success.
So, intelligence and willpower, obviously. I think personnel, well, see, agility tends to, agility probably has more to do with my with my thieving abilities. I think I'll put it into personality nonetheless. Helps me with my my earnings. All right, so the plan is going to be. This will probably be at the start of the next one, but we are going to make a whole bunch of potions with what we've found here. I'm going to find a place to sell the surplus, the mortar and pestle and whatnot. Actually, I'm going to drop these for just so there's no confusion. Something I was really hoping to do. Let's see if I can get it. Alright. I think this is finally a chance for me to get rid of these repair prongs. We're making progress. That's for sale. Alright, we're still overburdened with that, but I'll worry about that later because a lot of that's going to be coming from the materials here. And then of course I'm going to be dropping off some books and selling the others. So, we've obviously got a ton of wealth now. There is going to be a bit of a journey, so obviously, after I try and sell everything, I'm gonna have to travel from Belmore to Alderun, Alderun to Margan, and then we have to make our way back up the Foyada, which is going to be a little bit of a journey. But once we're done, we know we're not going to be picking up anything extra because obviously all that work is going to be happening right now. So a lot of merchant work, a lot of alchemy at the start of the next one. But actually, there's one thing I want to do right away. If we have any frost salts. It's ectoplasm. Alright, I'm just gonna take a minute here and see if there's any, Alright, so that's at least one thing down. So one other consideration is I may want to make a journey back to the Ghost Gate just to pick up and bring some of these Daedric items to see if I can get myself any more glass armor. But that'll be a consideration for another time. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.